Raina asks, I'm hoping I'm saying your name correctly, Raina. She says, I have a second and a fourth grader, and this is her second year with Spelled Write and Read. And she's asking about testing. And Raina, I just want you to know I'm going to actually answer your questions out of order of what you asked. She said, I'd love to know more clarity about testing as it relates to Spelled Write and Read in general. Okay, so I want to go through the different kinds of tests that we do and what I would call assessment. Okay, first of all, your dictation is actually a form of assessment. So you're going to modify, when I'm teaching new words, the level of cueing that I give is going to be dependent on that student and what are they remembering, what are they able to apply, do I need to bring in a little bit more help when I'm teaching, that kind of thing. So just be aware that actually even starting with your dictation itself, you've got some assessment that's going on there. Okay, immediately after teaching the words, and the sample I gave a little bit ago, I said, well, maybe I would come back and give a little quiz on what I just taught. If I can, I like to immediately give a quiz. So it depends on the student whether I can do this immediately or whether I need to call them back, after a little short break. But I want to give a quiz on the new words that I just taught. This is what I call a post-test, just because post means after. It's a quiz. It's just a quiz. So a quiz means that I can help. Okay, I just taught some new words, and I want to see what stuck in the brain, at least at the short-term memory level. And so I can help. Maybe I need to reinforce some kind of a think to spell. Maybe I need to do fingergrams again. This is immediately afterwards. I am not grading this. This is just to see what did they get from my teaching and what went over their head. Because just because I taught it does not mean they got it. Okay, and just because they get it right on the post test does not mean they've got it. So I just see, what they've got. So that's the post test. That is actually described for you in step 13, which is reinforcing spelling words. If you go to pages 90 and 91, one of the ideas for reinforcing spelling words is to give a quiz. There, it's number 4 on page 90. Okay, to give a quiz, and I really like that one. Okay, so I give a post test. That's a type of assessment. Again, I'm not grading this. Okay, now throughout the week, I'm going to give quizzes. So I already mentioned at the beginning of my lesson, we're going to practice the phonogram cards. We're going to read them, and then I give a quiz. And I'm going to quiz phonograms, and I especially want to quiz any phonograms that are coming up in that list. So let's take a look at a list, and I'm just going to give you this quick example. I'm on list B. I have to say I've got a first grader, and I'm teaching the second half of list B today, and guess what? The word fish is coming up. Well, I've got the sh phonogram in that word, and so guess what phonogram is going to be on my warm-up quiz? I'm going to make sure that that phonogram comes up, so when I go to teach that word, the student has practiced hearing it and writing that phonogram from hearing it only, not seeing it, so that is fresh in his mind. So when I go to teach the word, he's ready for that phonogram. So I'm going to give a quiz, and once I've started teaching words, those warm-up quizzes can include spelling words. So any word that the student missed the day before on the post test, or words that maybe I gave this is day 1 of the new week, and I gave an end of the week test last week and they missed 2 or 3 words, guess what? Those words might show up on my warm-up test, or warm-up quiz. Again, this is a quiz. So a quiz is something where I can help. But I want to say this, by the end of the week, my help has been reduced to nothing. So I might, have just taught 10 new words. I give the post test, which again, it's a quiz. I can help. I want to make a note. No, I didn't know that one at all. Completely relied on my help to be able to write the word. Great. Okay, I know something. Then the next day, all right, that word's going to show up maybe on my warm-up quiz. Still doesn't know it. I can help. But now I might wait just a little bit more. I might say, well, remember that was a multi-letter phonogram. I might give a little bit of help before I jump in and help him actually do it. So again, you know, this is my warm-up. I might, as one of my reinforcement activities, maybe I'm on day 3 or 4, I might pull a worksheet out of the worksheet book and give a quiz on the spelling words so that I can get a reinforcement activity. Maybe we're going to practice adding suffixes. Maybe we're going to work on antonyms or analogies or something like that. One of the worksheets from here, almost every single worksheet starts with a quiz. And so it's a quiz. So can I help? Yes. But what I'm doing is I'm weaning that student off of that kind of help by the end of the week so that I help less and less and less to the point where by the end of the week they should know that word without my help. Okay, so that's the quiz. And then they have the end of the week test. So what material did I teach that week? Well, guess what? We're going to test that at the end of the week. Do they know it or not? So this is a test. So that is different than a quiz. I don't help. Now, the only time I will tell you that I help on an end of the week test is when I am starting with a beginner, a little guy who's just getting started, and he just got his first 10 words of, you know, he's never had a spelling test before, and I really want him to have a positive attitude about tests. So I'm not going to come in here with that little guy and say, I can't help you, you're on your own, feel bad because you don't know it. Obviously I wouldn't say that, but I'm saying that we can set up the experience to be like that. And so for that little guy, guess what? I'm going to help him on the first few tests. Just, you know, obviously weaning him off of that because I want him to get to the point where he understands this is a test. What do you know and what don't you know? And guess what? If you don't know it, that's okay, because we're going to just keep practicing and we're going to get it. And it's okay if you don't know it this time because you're going to get it and you'll know it next time. And so I want to make sure that that testing experience, if they're just getting started, is a positive one. And so that's when I help on the end of the week test, just for those little guys. But normally at the end of the week test, I don't help, okay? Because I've weaned the student of the need for my help. Hopefully I've provided enough reinforcement. If all you're doing is teaching spelling words, just teach the new words, and then you don't like do anything again, and then you give a test at the end of the week and you say, you know, this isn't working, they're not learning. Well, it's because you're not reviewing. You're not reviewing. The average student needs at least 6 meaningful experiences with a spelling word before it's theirs. And copying a word 6 times is not a meaningful experience. In fact, that's passive learning, which in my book is an oxymoron. Passive and learning are not, passive does not equate to necessarily learning. I want the student's brain engaged. And so I need to be practicing throughout the week so that by the time we get to that test where I am not helping, the student is ready and, you know, is doing fairly well. Okay. Then we have, so quizzing, we have the diagnostic, or sorry, not diagnostic. We have the dictation. I'm doing a little bit of assessment there, just kind of knowing where to help, where not. I have the post-test. I just taught words. Now I'm going to see what they know. It's a quick quiz. I can help as much as necessary. I want to see what's in short-term memory. I do warm-up quizzes at the beginning of each session, or I do quizzes throughout the week to set up reinforcement activities. Those are quizzes. Again, I'm weaning the student of any help for the end of the week. So at the beginning I help more. At the end of the week I want them pulling from their brain as much as possible. Then at the end of the week test, preferably no help whatsoever from the teacher. Then we have the diagnostic test. That is covered in your Spell to Write and Read. Look at step 4, and then also all of the tests and information is in the back of the book in Appendix B. Okay, diagnostic test, no help at all. You say the word however you say the word. If you have a strong Southern accent and you say the word like this, then that's how you say the word. If you, I do not have a Chinese accent, but let's say you are an English as a second language learner and you have a strong, however you say the word, that's how you say it. You do not break it into syllables. You do not help in any way. You do not do think to spell on a diagnostic test. You just say it. give a context for the with a sentence, and that's in the book, and then you say the word and you have them write it, and you move quickly through the diagnostic test, because you want to know, do they know it or not? And if they're sitting there and they're writing it and they're going, they're erasing it, and then they write it again, and that doesn't look right, and do they know the word? No, they don't know the word. They might land on the correct spelling, but what did you just see? They're not solid on that word. And also, when you're giving a spelling test like this and you're just giving them a word, their brain is focused on spelling. You ask them to start writing a paragraph or something, and you look at their spelling in the context of a paragraph, and the spelling is going to go down if they don't have strong skills, because now the brain is focused on the language skills. They're focused on how to write a sentence. What are the ideas that I want to convey? And the brain has moved up from spelling to now more of the language. And so that's why we want to keep reviewing. So the diagnostic test is what's actually in there without any help at all. So those are the different kinds of testing that we do. I hope that answered you said you wanted to know more about the testing. And then she said, do we test on words just once, or should we be doing cumulative tests? I answered that already when I answered Shirley's question. I think I answered that as far as the weekly tests and the quizzes and that kind of thing. So you want to just keep quizzing, keep bringing them back. One thing you also said, you said, I usually test once a week and continue to test incorrectly spelled words on a continual basis until they're spelled correctly. That's great. That's what you want to do. What I would do with my kids is I would take a red pencil, and if they got it wrong on the end of the week test, and I would put a little red dot, maybe 2, and every time I gave them either a quiz or I brought that word onto another end of the week test, then I would erase, if they spelled it correctly on one of those subsequent quizzing or testing situations, then I would erase one of the red dots, and then by the time I'd erased both, I would assume, okay, they've learned this word. But one of the nice things about the red pencil is it doesn't erase completely. So even though I've erased it, there's like a ghost of red still in the student's book, and I can see that was a word. And so frankly, if they've missed a word on any word that I've previously taught, that's game for a review quiz or another test at the end of the week. So maybe a word that I taught in list J6 is going to come up when I'm teaching L1 words. It just depends. They need to know any word I've taught, you need to be ready to spell that word. So I think that's great. Just make sure that your end of the week test doesn't become some big, huge, long cumulative review, like, oh my gosh, we've got 40 words that you haven't spelled right yet. So I'm going to add that to the 20 we're doing. No. I would say add 5 to 10 review words. That's it. And you can still be including review words in the quizzes, your warm-up quizzes, and you can be including those review words. They're going to keep coming up. If you're doing the reinforcement activities in I keep showing you these are the workbooks, these are the worksheets that go with the Wise Guide enrichment activities. If you're doing the enrichment activities, you are constantly reviewing previously taught words. It's just a fantastic way that Wanda has woven that review right into the lesson for you.